Good morning, students of Standard 9. I welcome you to your first video for this week. The poem is The Snake Drawing, written by W. Ross. Well, this is a rare category of poetry because you must have read so far the European poets, particularly British, Wales, Irish, the United Kingdom poets, and the American poets. This, for a change, is a Canadian person writing a poet. In this poetry, he points out about the age-old human fear, the fear for snakes, particularly animals of the species that crawl, the slithering variety, animals that slither. It somehow gives us goosebumps looking at the animals that slither or belong to the slithering community. And snakes are the most misunderstood animal. It's a tendency of human beings, whenever they look at a snake, they tend to chase them or try to kill them. The poet is trying to make a point that most of the snakes found on the planet Earth are harmless. They don't like human company, and harmless or not, they don't like human company and tend to stay away from human habitat. So let's begin. In the poem, the poet says that the snake tries to escape from being hit by the stick held by a person who is trying to kill it. The poet wants to say that all snakes are not harmful. Humans have a notion that snakes are dangerous and try to kill them as soon as they spot one. But this is not true. It tells us how a harmless green colored snake tries to hide behind the green bushes in order to save itself. Let's talk about the poet. William Brighton Eustace Ross was a Canadian geophysicist and a poet. He was the first published poet in Canada to write imagist poetry, and later the first to write surrealist verse, both which have led some to call him the first modern Canadian poet. He was born on 14 June 1894 and he died on 26 August 1966. Now the poem, word meaning and explanation. The snake tried to escape the pursuing stick. With sudden curvings of thin long body, how beautiful and graceful are his shapes. Now you see, the first two lines are example of enchantment. I am telling you because later I have given all the devices. Enchantment I have not mentioned because it's full of enchantment. The first two, then 3, 4 and 5. So two examples of enchantment you can find. The snake trying to escape the pursuing stick with sudden curvings of thin long body. How beautiful and gracious are these shapes. Note of exclamation. Poet is full of admiration at the beauty of the snake. Now pursuing means chasing or following. Curvings means twisting. The snake tries to escape from being hit by the stick that is following it. As the snake crawls, its body twists and turns, forming fascinating shapes. He glides through the water, away from the stroke. Oh, let him go over the water, into the reeds to hide, without hurt, small and green. He is harmless even to children. Look at the stress on the word, he is harmless even to children. It can't even harm a child. How can it harm a grown-up man? Glides means moving swiftly. You have seen air gliders, how they move swiftly in the air in a wavy fashion. Similarly, the movement of a snake is compared to the movement of a glider. Stroke is a hitting of a stick, or stroke means hit. In cricket, batsman plays a shot with a nice stroke. So it means hitting it nicely. Reeds are marshy plants. Their stems are thick and hollow from inside. That's why they're called reeds. If you remember Standard 9th, the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan, we read about reeded musical instrument. Musical instrument made out of plants with hollow stems. They are generally marshy plants found in water. The snakes move through The snake moves through the water in order to save itself. The poet pleads to let it escape and hide behind the thick marshy plants as it is harmless. The small green colored snake is harmless even to children. It's the degree of harmlessness. It can't harm even a little child. Now the last part of it. Along the sand he lay until observed and chased away, and now he vanishes in the ripples among the green slim reeds. And before this, example of enchantment, since I have not given it, he glides through the water away from the stroke. This is one example of enchantment. Then, oh, let him go over the water into the reeds to hide without hurt. This is the small example of the second example of enchantment. And the last one, small and green, it is harmless even to children. 3 examples of enchantment you will find in the second part. Now, along the sand he lay until observed and chased away. 1, 2, 3. These are enchantment. And now when he vanishes in the ripples among the green slim reeds. This is another enchantment. So 2 enchantment over here. Vanishes, all of you must know it means disappearing. Till it was spotted and chased away by the person holding a stick, it lay quietly in the sand. In order to save itself, the snake disappears in the ripples of the water and hides in the camouflaging green bushes of the marshy plants. The snake is being referred to as he, so we can also call it personification. We will go for the devices. Rhyme scheme is absent. It is a free verse poetry. Synecdoche you will find the adjective used with a noun refers to a noun other than one which it is used. Pursuing stick. A stick can't pursue, a stick can't chase. Obviously a person is, this pursuing stick represents the person, right? Therefore, it becomes synecdoche. Then you will find alliteration, the repetition of the consonant sound in 2 or more consecutive words. He is harmless, HH is alliteration. The personification, I gave you example. He lay until observed. So he here stands for personification. He vanishes, right? He glides. These are all personification. He is harmless, personification. How beautiful and graceful are his shapes. His shapes, personification. So you can see lots of devices with the simple message that it's trying to convey. Now children, I will leave you with a poetry which will narrate this very poem, so you can understand the feel and the meter on which it has been said. Enjoy the poem and we'll meet again in the second video. Till then, goodbye.
The snake trying. The snake trying to escape the pursuing stick, with sudden curvings of thin, long body. How beautiful and graceful are his shapes. He glides through the water away from the stroke. Oh, let him go over the water into the reeds to hide without hurt. Small and green, he is harmless even to children. Along the sand he lay until observed and chased away, and now he vanishes in the ripples among the green, slim reeds. By W. W. E. Ross.